Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Leave. I'm sorry, sir. I cannot hear you. Okay.
How's that?
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Thank you, Professor, for taking the time to get the meeting.
Yeah. No worries. I've just been out working, teaching.
I can imagine. I see that you're very busy. Leopoldo Herrera spoke to me about you, and I had to request an interview with Professor Mclean because wonderful work that you've been doing your whole life. I wanted to, on behalf of the Venezuelan Golf Federation, thank you for taking the time for this meeting.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Happy to do it.
I want to ask you, sir, because I see that you graduated in Houston.
Yes.
In a major in economics. But you've been, what I like about your profile, if I may say, is that you've been ruling the Northwest and now the East of the U.S. So you've been all around. It's really interesting.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I want to ask you, sir. I'm from the school that received your pioneering X Factor, and now you're talking about X Factor stretch. What do you think of technology, and how does it improve your wonderful work with golf?
Yeah, thanks. Well, I wrote the X Factor in the early '90s, and then I had biomechanics in the mid '90s with a group out of New York, and then I hired a biomechanics expert, Dr. Rob Neal, in 2003, and then he worked for me for 11 years. And a big part of what they use in biomechanics is the X Factor, which is the differential between the shoulders and the hips in the backswing, and then the disassociation of the hips starting ahead of the shoulders in the downswing. Now things are improving. So of course with biomechanics and gears, we have gears here now. Do you know what gears is?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can measure precisely how much. Now the interesting thing to me is, what I found using the technology, well, it's only the technology we had then, is pretty close to how much turn and how much rotation, and that's true because everybody's a little bit different. Matthew Wolf's a little different than Morikawa and Hovland and Xander Schauffele and Bryson DeChambeau. Everybody's got a little different differential, but everybody turns their shoulders more than they turn their hips. And by a wide margin, and everybody starts the lower body first in the kinematic sequence, or you could say you start from the ground up, the feet, the knees, the hips, initiate, and you push into the ground.
And the gravity center is not the same for every place.
Exactly, your center of mass moves. Now, and the other thing that I would say is that it's on a full swing. Once we get down to a short iron or a wedge, then you may not, you may stay right on your left side or stay on top of the ball, or hitting into the wind or downhill shots. But I think one thing that we understand is that golf is played outdoors in all sorts of different lies, and this information that we learn from what the body does in the swing is very important to building speed and power into your game.
Yeah, you've been a pioneer a lot of time from your life, because you were one of the first professors to use video to improve the quality of the golfers, and not only on the pro side, also on the amateur side. And you also were a pioneer, correct me if I'm wrong, using Trackman technology. What do you think about the Trackman improvement? Because I just spoke last week with Professor Sasho Mackenzie from Nova Scotia. He was the way he speaks about biomechanics is unbelievable. As you speak about golf, because you get to love the game and you also get to perfect the game. That's that's what makes you one of the best professors in the world, if I may say. Not only the best in Florida. I mean, Leopoldo Herrera speaks about you unbelievable. He praised you a lot, and of course, it's very nice to get to speak with you about these matters, and because there's a lot of gold, and now with the known Bryson effect, everything is like changing, but this is not changing. What I try to speak about with Mr. McKenzie is that
Right.
golf is not changing because of Bryson DeChambeau. When you have Mr. Daly or you have Tiger Woods, they were the first one to start breaking, the 300 and yard barrier, and get them not only to hit it far, but properly hit it.
Yes.
So
I'm back.
what do you think about the improvement of the Trackman and the video for your class?
Yeah. Well, I owned the club fitting for many years at Doral. So when Trackman first came out, it was really as a club fitting tool. Well, this is right at the beginning, to measure the speed and a lot of things that you can do for fitting golf clubs. But we quickly saw that it had a lot of use for teaching. And now when we think of Trackman, we think of it for teaching, not for club fitting. Although everybody does use it for club fitting. Almost everybody uses Trackman for that. But yeah, the Trackman is a big breakthrough. Students see the information. They like to compare where they were and if they're improving, if things are getting better. I think the analytics is greatly improved with Trackman launch monitors because to quantify what we see on video, you can see just about everything on video or with your eyes, have the spin, but you can really dial it in exactly with the Trackman. And I think even the average player loves to use it. The tour players, of course, they're all using a launch monitor now, but the average player likes to see that information as well. I wrote a book with one of the guys who worked for me, Adam Koloff, on the Trackman, but we did it so you could be for more the beginner, the intermediate, and then the tour player, and that those parameters have to get a lot wider, or it's too disappointing for an average player to compare themselves to Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that we want to teach in Venezuela, we have only 3 Trackmans. We don't have any more. We have only 3. 2 are from amateurs, players. One is a juvenile, the other one is a mid-amateur. But there's only one academy, which is a one-stop golf academy in Caracas. They have the Trackman 4. And yeah, we're trying to improve. We have many caves, we have Flyscope, we have some type of good technology from years before, but the Trackman is the next big thing because of the way that you just mentioned that improves the game. And tomorrow we're actually getting a clinic for several amateurs here in Venezuela. They are, we're an underdeveloped country in some things, but when it comes to teaching, there are some professors that get to be updated according to the trending. Yes. Professors here, not all of them have the capability right now to acknowledge and understand what it means to get a Trackman or to get the matrix, the stats, the statistics that come from the Flyscope or the Trackman. So tomorrow we're doing a clinic, a free clinic for all the members of the tournament that we're playing here right now, and for the members of the club that we are here, which is Guataparo Country Club in Valencia. So do you believe that we need to teach every single member of not only family, caddies, teachers, instructors, to get to know the basics of Trackman and the use of technology so we can improve the level?
Yeah, I think that it's very helpful. I think for the teachers, if they have a really good understanding of ball flight laws, what's really happening, and the importance of club face, more important than the swing path, and that we work on the club face first. If you have an open club face, if you're naturally going to swing more to the left, so you can keep the ball on the golf course, and you square the face up for somebody, it's much easier for them to feel like they can swing from the inside. We can also, with our eyes, see a lot of information with the brain and our two eyes, but you have to be to do that correctly takes some years of work and understanding to where the Trackman can do it for you. It becomes another brain for you to use. That doesn't mean you can't teach great without the Trackman. I think it's a great asset to have. I don't use it in every lesson, but it's certainly with the better players when we're looking at trajectories and distances they hit their wedges that they can dial in. In the old days, we'd put the towels out there or sticks in the ground for 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I used to do that with Tom Kite. We'd put markers out there down the side of the range, even at tour events. Phil Mickelson always did that. Now you just put the Trackman down and you hit the shot and he gives you the number, 62, 61, 63. And, then, you get a feel for how that distance is. But we still could do it in the old days. There's still, Jonathan Vegas could still do it pretty good back in the old days. But, now we have this benefit of using more things to like the Trackman or like Body Track or something that measures your weight distribution and it shoots it up there on the TV. That's pretty nice stuff.
Oh, definitely. Professor, I have one question about your profile. When you were a pro player and a very, very good amateur golfer, what made you decide okay, now I want to teach? Because you were All-American, so that means you got wonderful grades and good golf. Am I correct so far?
Yeah.
So you've been also ranked top 3 in America for 25 years. I mean, that takes daily hard work with you and your team. I gotta say that. But you've been a PGA Tour member since 1982. I mean, what does it need to take to stay? I gotta say it like this because golf can change from time to time, but you've been always working hard with your team and now with your academy at Biltmore Hotel. So what can you recommend to new coming golf instructors so they can improve their level?
Yeah. Well, I think you've got to keep up. You can't just stay where you are. You've got to do the homework, which is reading at home. Now we have so many things on the internet, on YouTube or Instagram, where you can get a lot of information without having to travel to see the pro. You can do things. I mean, somebody like yourself that takes the time and the effort to get to talk to Sasho McKenzie and other teachers that I'm sure you're using. That takes initiative on your part. And a lot of people don't do the extra work anywhere. But I see the teachers, I try to hire young teachers who are smart and worked in good places and had a good golf game, and that they have an interest in being a top teacher. So then when they come in here, we do our meetings, our training every week. They have new ideas. What's the latest thing? And then for me, if there's something new, I just go to the videotape and test it to see if this is true. Is this really what I'm seeing with the top players in the world now, or maybe it isn't. So I like to know what's going on right now. So somebody like George Gankus, GG, so that's been very hot on social media and has had some really good players. Of course, Matthew Wolff, a great player that he has been with for a long time. You see Matthew, he's got a swing like Calvin Peete or Miller Barber, and we've seen that swing before, but a lot of movement in his feet, and you're thinking, wow, his feet are moving, pulling way back when he hits, and Scotty Scheffler's doing that. So if I don't keep up, if I don't know those things, then I don't look too good with these young guys that are coming in. You know, I need to know what the best players in the world are doing right now.
Oh, you have a working discipline that I can for what I understand, and it's something that makes you because I saw the website on and when you say when you get to read on gmclean.com, which is the website for the golf school, and you get to see all the accomplishments that you've done, not only on the PGA, you're a member of the Hall of Fame, promotion and service. So you get to go above and beyond for what it takes to improve the game. And about improving the game, I have to ask, what do you believe is one of the most important values from golf? What do you take from golf and their traditions and beautiful values for the sport?
Yeah, there's so many things from going from the appreciation of nature, of taking care of the golf course, showing young juniors to learn the responsibility of all the things they have to do to keep the golf course nice, to try to learn to monitor your emotions, which is hard for kids to do, but they learn manners. You learn sportsmanship. You learn to count your score, not cheat. You have bad things happen in golf, like life, and you gotta recover. You learn about hitting targets, and you know that in anything, shooting a rifle, shooting a bow and arrow, throwing a baseball to the catcher, that the target's not always hit. You got the first target's the fairway, the second target's the green, and the third target's the hole. And it gets smaller, and that's a kind of in the game of life, we're not always perfect, but we can recover. And you have to be able to be a good golfer. You have to learn the art of recovery.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because I saw on your website, gmclean.com, that you obviously work with junior golfers and kids and new coming golfers that are beginning to love the game. What would your main suggestions be so they can stay on track? Because there's a difference of quality from ages 3 to 5, and then you get to start improving and loving the game at the same time, but you still have to go to school. What do you tell to the parents and to the golfers so they can keep a proper balance of their life while they're trying to get the scholarships and they're trying to improve the game or go pro?
Well, for me is trying to make things fun and enjoyable. I don't try to torture the kids. We have had a lot of fun with them, a lot of games that we play, and get them out on the golf course. We only have a short game area here for the kids, but we have 3 greens that they can play around. And we can get a score, and they love to get rankings, points, and have a ladder maybe for where they are. Well, I had pretty big junior programs up in New York before coming down here. And then we've had some really good juniors down in Miami. And once in a while, you find a junior that has the drive, that really wants to be good. It's a rare thing. Most kids, it's a fun thing, and everybody wants to be good. That's great. But sometimes you get a junior who really is diligent and wants to be a player. That's where you come in as a teacher, really, when you can get to the advanced stuff. And a lot of kids climb the ladder quite a ways. It's very difficult to get a scholarship to a golf school. In college now, you got to be a really good player, both the men and the women. It's even in women's golf, there's a lot of good players from all over the world. A lot of South American players are playing here at the University of Miami. We've got a girl from Argentina. I know they've had a girl from Chile, and then they've had different players from all over the world. So it's very competitive.
Right.
But it does a lot for the kids in their future in business or in just learning how to play within the rules. If you hit it out of bounds by 1 inch or 1 meter out of bounds, it's still out of bounds, whether it was 100 yards out of bounds or,
right.
And you learn that there's boundaries and rules. And I think that's good for people anywhere.
Right. We agree 100% on that, Professor. Now, I got to ask you something. At what age did you say, okay, I want to go all my life. I want to apply the life philosophy that you just mentioned during this wonderful conversation. What made you the spark to love the game? How did it begin for Mr. Jim Mclean?
Well, I played when I lived next to a golf course, and I played a little bit when I was young, but mostly I played baseball. I was in Seattle, Washington, where I grew up, so the weather's not so great.
What position?
I pitched and I played second base. Yeah.
Oh, that's a tricky position, second base. That's difficult one, believe me, because we have wonderful baseball players in my country. So I can assure you.
Yeah, I know. I know you
easy.
do. Yeah, and it translates pretty good into golf. And then, so then I started playing when I was about 11 or 12. I started playing more golf, and I started having success playing golf. So I think as long as you start winning tournaments and you have a talent for doing something. So I stopped playing baseball, and I just played basketball in the winter and golf in the summer. And I love basketball too. I love that. And I wanted to play basketball in college, but I was a good shooter. There's some things I was good at, but to go to college to play, maybe a small college, but not really to a big college, but I was good at golf. And I started to focus more on golf when I was I still focused on basketball, but I really focused on golf for maybe 7-8 months out of the year. And when I was 16, I went out to the Western Junior that was played out, it was a couple 1,000-mile flight. First time I ever got on an airplane. And, I went to the semifinals in there. So then I saw, hey, I can play as good as any juniors. And then I got uh-oh.
Yes, I can see you now.
Still? Okay. Yeah, I got to go pretty soon. I started, you have national success, and then you start getting the scholarships to college. And then I got that scholarship to the University of Houston, which at the time was the top college golf team in the country. And my friends on the team won all the majors. They won the U.S. Open, the Masters, PGA, and the British Open, my good buddies. So I played with really good players. For me, it gave me access to anybody on the PGA Tour. I knew everybody. I played with them all, those guys. So when I first started teaching, I could walk out on the range and everybody, I knew pretty much everybody. And it was easy. And I had a big advantage, lucky. And then I started working on my teaching and started having some success with the players up in New York. That's where I started working. And then some tour players, and then that the ball gets rolling. But first you have to have success in a small area, like where I was around my area of New York. We started having the kids win the tournaments and the amateurs, and then you build a reputation.
You've done that amazingly. As we mentioned, we are going to add all your profile for this. Before you leave, Professor, and I really want to thank you for taking the time to the interview. I have to ask. There's this amazing young kid. His name is Leopoldo Herrera. I believe that you and your school coach him. I wouldn't ask you for any specifics, but we believe in my country that he, along with some wonderful players that we have here, can be very competitive from the future of the country, because I've been getting reports from his Trackman, and he hits by being 17 years old 300 yards. So it's something amazing for that age, right? It's not easy.
Oh, he sounds like he's right on track, to be a fine player. And obviously, I think he could go a long ways. I don't know exactly how it works in Venezuela as for going on to college or how that works. I have a really good teacher, Julio Newt, who is from Venezuela, that teaches with me, and he's a very good friend of mine. And so, shoot, I mean, Julio played for LSU, played really good college golf. He's, super guy. When you can play really good, the door's open for you. There's a lot of things that happen, of course, and it happens in baseball. It should happen in golf. I know in Venezuela now you don't maybe have as many golf courses and things to play.
Yeah.
But who knows what's going to happen in the future? You get a good player going. Yeah.
Yeah, Professor, I want to thank you on behalf of the Venezuelan Golf Federation of my country for taking the time for the interview. We really appreciate it. We are going to keep improving the game. We've had wonderful players in the past. We have a new generation of they are South American champions on the boys side. So they're going to keep working, and I really want to thank you for taking the time. Hopefully, we will be able to improve our everything here and be able to invite you with Mr. Julio Knott, so you can come here and maybe teach a wonderful golf clinic with all your teachings from the years.
And maybe you come up and visit us here too someday, huh? I hope so.
Hopefully, I will cover the Corn Ferry Tour on May this year. I'm getting the credential with that, but we're doing one step at a time, and also the NCAA finals. So we're gonna go, and if we want to have better golf, we have to go and see it from one of the best countries in the world. So thank you, Professor, for taking
it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I wish everybody good luck, and I hope you can come up sometime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.